And that worked? How long do you think it'll hold?
This sentence is the biggest secret of the entire event. The Great Flood is finally upon us, but it can only be contained for so long. So today we're breaking down all secrets and Easter eggs you missed in the Fortnite Doomsday live event. As always, if you want to help support us through giveaways for Season 3 Battle Passes or skins, you could use code T5G in the item shop, but let's not waste any more time. First, you have to understand the bigger picture. It's important you pay attention because this is bigger than you might think. Here is the Doomsday live event explained. So probably the most fascinating and exciting part of the entire event was when we were mysteriously teleported to an all-white office. By now, if you missed the event, you've probably seen everyone talking about this office anyway, with the coolest part being the first-person mode. Here's the thing, this office is filled to the absolute brim with Easter eggs, secrets, and hidden details. Starting off, it's finally revealed. The nameplate on Jonesy's desk says Jon Jones. It means we now know that Agent Jonesy's full name is this, and while there are a ton of theories floating around based on what this could mean or who Jon Jones really is, I think the real question we should be asking is, who does Jon Jones work for? While we have our ideas, right now that's the biggest elephant in the room. If you're a fan of Jon Jones, by the way, he's actually going to be released as an item shop skin in the future according to data miners, so stay tuned for that. Moving on, the main theory is that this confirms Fortnite Battle Royale is actually one big simulation. It's a theory that's been going around since day one, but we never really got any evidence from Epic until today. This theory states that Fortnite as a whole is a simulation, hence the reason why we disappear once we die, or the fact that the entire loop the visitors and Jonesy talk about is just us queuing up for a new match. The entire island is stuck in a loop, which is us jumping from the battle bus, fighting, ending the match, and going all over again. This loop has been a concept for a while now, mostly brought up by the visitor tapes, where he mentions that the loop makes him forget everything. So, when we teleported to the office with Jon Jones inside, it's likely that this is reality. We left the simulation and appeared in reality, right in the offices of the company running the simulation. If we analyze Jon Jones' office a bit more, you could spot things like a ghost logo on his cup, paintings depicting his life story, and then a video on his computer showing the device in real time. But while all these things are just pieces of the puzzle in Jon Jones' story, the most interesting part is the actual things he said to people on the phone. The first time we hear him, he says,
No, everything is not stable over here. We are Janice, dial the resonance actuator to 7.2. Now, please, yes, right now.
I'm on it.
Wait, hold on. It's not just a storm. What does that mean? Must be connected to the loop. There's no way we could have predicted that it would react this way.
Then we go back to the island, and when we return again, Jones says,
and that worked? How long do you think it'll hold? Good. Everything is, starting to stabilize here. Nothing seems to be... What the... How are you even... Wait. Can you hear me?
As you could probably tell, Midas's entire plan is clearly putting the people in this office building in distress as they're rushing to fix it. We've speculated for months on what Midas's plan was, and it seems that all this time he's been trying to actually push back the storm in order to disrupt the simulation and break free. So while he did end up defying the storm and ultimately breaking the simulation, and that's why he escaped and got to reality a few times, Agent Jonesy and his team worked to sabotage the device and fix the simulation, so in the end, it explains everything. Midas was secretly working with the engineer from Shadow because they both had to join forces to defeat the greater evil. He discovered he was in a simulation and convinced her to help him build the device in order to defy the storm and break free. Kinda also explains why Midas has all these statues and helmets in his office. We always wondered why Lynx not only has a helmet, but also an entire full statue, and we just assumed Epic wasn't really realizing. But what if that was how Midas discovered he was in the simulation? Think about it, if Midas killed Lynx, turned her helmet to gold, and then the loop happened again, causing everyone to respawn, it's possible he would then realize that he was in a loop in the first place. Kinda cool to actually connect the dots with the entire timeline of Midas's plan. It would also explain why it was codenamed the Doomsday device, because Midas intended to destroy the simulation entirely. So we looked into it, and it seems that a resonator actuator is a real thing in things like smartphones, consoles, cars, and more for vibrations and haptic feedback. That's obviously talking about Jonesy's conversation, but here's the thing. It looks like the wall of water that he talked about is only gonna hold for a few days, and that's a big problem. We have 48 hours until this system fails and the tidal wave around us collapses, causing the Great Flood of Season 3. Finally, a secret worth keeping your eye on was the clocks in his office. If you paid attention, you might have noticed that the clocks actually changed every time we teleported to the office. The first time showed 2:55 p.m., then we returned to the island for 2 minutes, and when we came back, the time showed 3:40 p.m. It confirms that the office has a separate timescale to the one on the island, proving that one is reality and one is a simulation. Something like this can only be done on purpose. But before moving away from this office, it's time we talked about all the unreleased tease content and all other secrets and Easter eggs you probably missed. And that starts with first-person mode. Yeah, you heard that right. One of the main takeaways from the Agent Jonesy cutscene is that Fortnite has been working on a brand new first-person mode. While you first think, oh, but first person has been in Save the World for a while, and that's probably what Epic used here, well, think again. Fortnite usually tests brand new features through live events, as proven with like the swimming underwater during Astronomical or pushing the runes to the vault with Universal Health. Because of this, it would make sense to say that this event could have been used to test a brand new first-person mode for Fortnite. And that's not just me speculating. Some people were actually glitched after the event ended and they were stuck inside of the first-person mode, and while you'd expect it to break and look all clunky, it worked like a charm. Like, you can actually see and use your weapons without it glitching and, like I said, looking that clunky, weird way that you wouldn't expect it to. I'm certain Epic is working on a first-person mode for us to either toggle in the settings or more than likely be an LTM in the future. We've speculated about this for actual years now, but there's so much more you missed. The Storm Tidal Wave. If you haven't realized it yet, the storm has turned into a giant tidal wave that you could actually swim in. I think it might be a good change for the game since swimming is faster than walking, which means that you'll be taking way less storm damage. You can also swim while you're knocked now, which is really going to come in handy if you ever get downed in the storm. Inside of this giant tidal wave, you could actually spot a couple secrets as well. The first being the massive sharks. These are most likely the same ones that we mentioned before, the rideable shark vehicle coming in Season 3. You may have also noticed the Deadpool yacht riding the very top of this tidal wave. It looks like he survived, but let's just hope he's doing okay up there. The first Season 3 teaser. Yep, we have our first official teaser for Fortnite Season 3, which goes live on Wednesday, June 17th. You can take a look here, and it's a trident. This officially confirms the leak of Aquaman being a part of the Battle Pass or the special skin. And if it isn't Aquaman, then possibly some kind of Poseidon skin, but it's most likely going to be an Aquaman skin as we revealed in the original Season 3 leaks. The first teaser showed off a part of the trident, and then people with creator codes got sent the second full image instead. So here it is, Aquaman's trident. I mean, I can't wait to see what the skin looks like, as well as the rest of the Season 3 Battle Pass. Super excited. But that's not the only unreleased content yet. Custom Crosshairs. As I said earlier, Fortnite likes to test new features during live events, so it's no surprise that another small detail that only a few picked up on was the potential tease at Custom Crosshairs. During the event, right before we entered the office for a second time, there was a short moment when our screen started to glitch out, colors began scrambling. During this time, Crosshairs returned to the screen and actually started changing colors. A couple months ago, a pretty neat trick was found in Creative that allowed you to create your own custom crosshair with any color. Since then, the community has been asking non-stop for this feature to come to the game. It was only a really tiny detail, and if you didn't really notice it, you missed it, but let's hope this is Epic teasing custom crosshairs in Season 3. The voice actor's secret. One thing that's been a reoccurring theme around here is that Epic needs to give us more storyline related content. Luckily with this event, it seems like Epic is investing a whole lot more in the storyline than ever before. Not only do we find out that Midas is voiced by Matthew Mercer, who's the voice behind McCree from Overwatch or Levi Ackerman in Attack on Titan, but people with keen ears might also spot that Agent Jonesy sounds an awful lot like Troy Baker. If you don't recognize the name, Troy voices Joel in The Last of Us, Sam Drake in Uncharted, Booker DeWitt in BioShock, and way more. This is particularly exciting because if Epic is hiring voice actors of this magnitude, it means that we're going to be investing way more into the storyline than it has been. I mean, think about it. We all know that Fortnite has been a bit lackluster with story content in Chapter 2, but this event was a huge breath of fresh air. Let's just hope that we get to hear even more from this awesome cast of characters. And finally, the Doomsday device broken. When the device lowered back into the agency after successfully pushing the storm all the way back, it returned back home into Midas's office. So, if you go and check it out in the Battle Pass lobby, you could spot that the glass is shattered and the device seems to be somewhat broken. It's possible that it used absolutely all of its power and now no longer works. It's done. It's likely the Doomsday device and the ruins of the agency won't make it into Season 3. But here's one secret you probably didn't know. If you go to the actual agency in-game right now, we tested fishing in the storm and it doesn't work, but you can fish in the hole at the middle of the agency. While it's kinda neat, we probably won't be able to do much more, and I don't know, I thought it was cool. This has been Tommy, keep it here, Top 5 Gaming.